Rosberg is closing up on Arnoux for fourth position as Lauda completes the lap by foot. Now Prost has gone through. The gap was 21 seconds. Lauda looking at Derek Warwick's car, taking an interest in everything all around him, perhaps wanting to delay the moment before he gets back, and we're still waiting for Senna to come through, and here he is. The gap now is down to 18 seconds. So Alain Prost in the lead is being caught quite rapidly. Here is Alain Prost on his 29th lap. Ayrton Senna has got the gap down from 31 seconds to 18.
Yes, this means that at the current rate of progress, Senna, rather Prost, is going to have to find another gear, because Senna is catching him quite comfortably enough to do it well before the end of the race, with plenty of time to find a way around him.
Here's the leader. Senna second, fell off the two new boys of Grand Prix racing this season in second and third places. Arnoux is fourth, Rosberg is fifth, but catching Arnoux. De Angelis is sixth, the last man to be on the same lap as the leader. Alboreto is a lap behind in seventh place. Ghinzani is the highest ever he's ever been in a Grand Prix in eighth position. In ninth place is Jacques Lafitte. Then 4 laps behind the leader, but now out of the race, Patrese, as is Lauda. Winkelhock is retired, Mansell's out, Piquet's out, Hinault finishes. Prost. We must watch the tunnel very carefully, because although it was watered at the beginning of the race, of course it hasn't been watered since, whereas the rain has continued to belt down on every other part of this Monaco lap. Now here is the leader coming through again. The gap was 18 seconds. He goes round Saint-Devote and starts to climb the hill for the 30th time in what we expect to be about a 60-lap race. And the gap between himself and Ayrton Senna is now 15 seconds. Ayrton Senna is catching this man, number 7, race leader, Alain Prost, Marlboro McLaren, at the rate of 3 seconds a lap. So in 5 laps' time, if he keeps doing it, Ayrton Senna is going to be right with the race leader, with only just over half of the race run at that time.
Well, I think we are watching the arrival of Ayrton Senna as truly outstanding talent in Grand Prix racing. The rain is coming down even harder now. We've got a real cloud burst on now. But Ayrton Senna has the same tires that Alain Prost is running, the same tires that the other Michelin runners. He's on Michelin tires, and he's catching Alain Prost at something like 3 seconds a lap. And that is a truly staggering performance. The Toleman is obviously a good chassis, which is a great credit to their team. They put it together. It's quite new. Look at the rain now. You can see that it's much heavier. The track is much wetter than it was a couple of laps ago. And now that's about the view you get when you're following another car. That brief one when he just came through and all the spray came up. And it's really horrible conditions. But Ayrton Senna is coping with them, and he's catching Prost hand over fist for the lead.
I can't believe that they're going to keep running this race. The conditions are the worst I have ever seen in a long, long time of watching races. Now here is Prost coming through again, and I'm going to start the stopwatch. 15 seconds was the gap. If Senna is continuing to close at the rate of 3 seconds a lap, Prost is waving his hand. Prost goes through, waving his hand at the officials. He wants to stop the race, and who can blame him? Now, I'm just waiting for Senna to come through, and the gap as Senna goes through quite dispassionately is down to 11 seconds. He's taken 4 seconds out of Prost's lead.
Yes, Prost, with his experience, wants the race stopped, and I can't blame him for that, because I wouldn't have even wanted to have started in it. But the fact of the matter is, it's a very slow track here. There's a lot of corners, cars don't get very fast, and aquaplaning is not normally a problem, is it? I can't, from this position sitting here, say that it is or it isn't a problem, but normally there isn't enough water on the track. It's a very hilly track, so you don't get a lot of lying water. And this is aquaplaning. There is, in fact, from a purist and a dispassionate point of view, no reason to stop the race.
But a lot of engines are drowning now. Arnoux has gone past with a badly misfiring Ferrari engine, followed almost immediately by Keke Rosberg with the same trouble. And I would suspect that they are both running on only 5 cylinders.
Do you not suspect, Murray, possibly that that's because they're using half throttle because the conditions have got so bad? It may be that it isn't a misfire, it's just the way they're driving the engine, possibly.
It could indeed be just that, because it affects the turbocharger balance. And that's Alboreto catching Prost. Now, Alboreto has in fact been lapped, and Prost is slowing right down. And Alboreto keeps going. I'm beginning to think that Prost is in some sort of trouble. Don't forget that we suspect that Niki Lauda's engine was drowned. The gap, and we are now coming up to complete the 31st lap in what we expect to be a 60-lap race if it goes the full 2 hours. Alboreto having been push-started. Once more we'll take the gap between Prost and Senna, first and second. It was 11 seconds, having come down from 15 on the previous lap. Prost waved his hand up the previous lap, but not this one. And there goes Senna, and it's only 7 seconds now. And what will happen if the race...
As driver, it's all come right for him. He started from pole position. He was going slower and slower at the end, but the race was stopped in the nick of time. So, with only half points, Alain Prost gets 4.5 for his win, and he's now 10.5 points ahead of Niki Lauda, who didn't score. René Arnoux now consolidates his third place, 1.5 points ahead of Derek Warwick. De Angelis now 5th, Keke Rosberg 6th. And that's McLaren's 5th Grand Prix win out of 6 starts this year, an extraordinary record, and it puts them even more securely in the lead of the Constructors' Championship with almost double the points of their closest rival Ferrari. So from a very wet Monte Carlo, we look ahead 2 weeks to Montreal and the Canadian Grand Prix for round 7. I suppose one can't argue with the organisers' decision. You only have to look at the waterlogged track to realise it was a wise thing to do, but I guess that Ayrton Senna could have done with another 4 or 5 laps to get to grips with Alain Prost.
I think it was a difficult decision to start the race, but we spoke about with some drivers, but do not start the race. But because of the tunnel was too slippery, and the organization did some job through the tunnel to put some water, and it was a bit better for start. So we decided to start, and I think the decision to stop the race was very good, was very safe, and I think it's a very good decision, and it's a very good race, even if it's half distance.
And it's your 12th victory. How does this compare with the other 11 before? Was it better or as good, or what do you think?
For sure, it's the most difficult, and I think I did one of the best races I've never did before. I did the best pole position I've never did, and that helped me a lot today because I did a good start also. And I'm very happy to win here because last year and 2 years ago I had to win this race, and I'm very happy not only for this race today but for the championship.
Just in the laps before the race was finally stopped, Ayrton Senna was catching you very quickly, but do you think that you could have held him off, or was he going so quickly that he would be passing you?
He was much quicker than me, but the track was so slippery, so dangerous that I decided to go very slowly. I had some problem with the brakes, and when I've seen that Senna was behind me, he's not current for the championship. He has no point at the moment, so I have already decided that if he was just behind me, I let him pass. It was much better for me to get some points for the championship and do not win the race.
The demoralizing situation for every team in Grand Prix racing today is that your car was on pole position, and having Marlboro McLarens dominate 1984, it looks like they can do so in the remaining races, including the next 3 in North America.
I think we improved a lot the car for this race, and it was a good surprise for me to be in pole position, and it's a good surprise to win this race. We did not plan to win this race before, and 5 win in 6 races. It's unbelievable, and I think for the North American race, and we are going to be in a good shape anyway. That's sure now, and we're in a good shape for the championship, because when we come back in Europe, I think we have some very nice track, very quick, and where we can be